I'm loving it.
The ads are everywhere. Flyers, neon signs, billboards, all of them written in some weird foreign language I can't find any match for. Plastered with goofy artwork of bug-eyed hot dogs and steaks and less than identifiable things. People stop and stare at them compulsively, pupils dilating, while their clouded mind registers God only knows. A lot of people say the exact same thing, the exact same tone and rhythm, every single time. That sounds good enough to eat. I hear it 100 times a day. When I risk going out anyway. Then they'll head straight to one of the impossible windows, the infected supermarkets, the rapidly multiplying vending machines, one of the green doors. Those awful fucking green doors. I don't know if they're actually new, or I'm just newly capable of seeing them. The first one I noticed had grown, for lack of a better word, on the back of our local ShopRite. An ugly, faded sea foam affair, smeared window shaped like their burger logo, chrome handle flecked with rust. Same as all the others I've seen since. People were coming and going at a steady pace, but even when I staked it out for a good 6 hours, I never saw the same patron come back out again. I guess that should have been a big warning sign, but I couldn't take it. I had to know. It didn't lead into the store, of course. I knew it wouldn't. As soon as I stepped inside, I was insulted by the sound of eating, feasting, wet, breathly chewing sounds drowning out everything else, tugging at my gag reflex. There were bars, tables, and booths scattered in disorganized patterns around rows and rows of buffets. Many seats were occupied, but the bulk of the customers were eating on foot, wolfing shit down right out the bars as they went along. I knew none of them could comprehend what they were really doing, where they really were. The decor was almost, but not quite in the style of a retro 50s diner. Maybe with a dash of Dr. Seuss, but a lot of the furnishings looked chunky, soft, and plastic, like they were designed for children. Though I can't imagine any child with such depressing taste. Booths were lined with putrid, off-green cushions. Tables were a hideous yellow tan with chipped chrome trimmings. The floor were a pale blue tile, like a missing public restroom. Many pieces were missing or disheveled. The walls were more of that tacky chrome interrupted by fake wood paneling, giving way to glass windows from about waist-high to the ceiling. Yes, windows. Not visible from outside. I stepped through a door in the middle of one plain, solid brick wall, but from the inside, it was glass all around. They were so thick with grime that I could scarcely see through them. But I could tell it wasn't the correct view from behind the ShopRite. It looked more like some murky storybook vista, simple, blocky houses on rolling green hills. Despite the steady stream of people coming in through the door, I couldn't see a single sign of movement or life out there. I began to wonder if I might look suspicious, just standing around and gawking while everyone else was heading straight for the food. I thought I might as well make an effort to blend in. Mistake number 1. Most of the offerings were typical of the shit coming out of those takeout windows or invading the grocery shelves. A heap of raw red steaks sat on a bed of black, clotted blood. Oversized, pasty white drumsticks dribbled cold, yellow juices. A long trough of chunky, pinkish slop jiggled like pudding as people scooped it onto their trays or straight into their grease-caked faces. At this point, I pulled my shirt up over my nose. I thought I recognized a lot of exotic fare. Frog legs, chicken feet, beef tripe. But I couldn't be certain. I wasn't sure if chickens had that many toes, or frogs I knew that grew that large. There was a tray of what I thought were fat, cemented sea pods until one of them abruptly curled and uncurled twice like a beckoning finger. Absolutely made my skin crawl. There were tongues, there were brains. There was something like clear yellow spaghetti and a pasty brown sauce, at least. That's what I'm gonna keep telling myself it was. There were fish fins, and goat eyes, and even bones. Just steaming hot, perfectly bare, white bones. I could barely take the sight of anyone eating. Mrs. Faber, a grim and crotchety old bag from down the street, was digging like an excited child through a heap of what looked like horse teeth, sucking off whatever scraps of gum tissue she could find. I felt my stomach shudder. We made eye contact, and for a moment, I almost thought I saw a look of horrified clarity, like the fog was almost lifted from her mind, and she was about to ask me what in God's name was she doing. Instead, her eyes glazed over me, and she smiled that chillingly idiotic smile. "Just like Mom used to make," she said in a hokey, sing-songy tone she'd never been caught dead using, popping another gnarled, yellowed molar into her mouth and sucking noisily. I could taste my own bile by the time I backed away from that godless orgy of culinary depravity. That's when I saw it. The thing I've come to think of as an egghead. It was wobbling around the bars, arms flailing blindly, a chalk-white, naked, sexless human figure dominated by a featureless beach ball of a head. A stick figure made flesh. The alien invasion theory was already sounding better and better. The thing was working its way down one aisle at a time, and it didn't look like, at first, like it had any particular goal in mind. It occasionally clutched at someone's hair or clothing as almost in desperate need for attention or even needed help. But nobody so much as blinked in this direction. I assumed I could get away with ignoring it like everybody else, until it finally hobbled its way down the opposite aisle and crossed my direct line of sight. It froze there. The blank, smooth, egged face turned directly towards me. I don't remember the spread home, but I do remember it was the dead of night when I exploded out of that ugly, greasy green door. It couldn't have been later than noon when I first entered, and I couldn't have been there ogling the horrors therein for more than 40 minutes from my perspective. I don't know if anything followed me home, but I barricaded myself in my bedroom that night just to be safe. The doors and the windows are everywhere. If you read this, only go out when you must, and don't go anywhere new. It might be newer than you think.